Politics alert. Wah, wah, wah. Read it. Fuck Trump, not you. Think about what that says or what it means. Think. America. Think. You thought about it? Fuck Trump, not you. I want to talk about maybe like the Electoral College today. I want to talk about participation today. And I want to talk about something called epistemic closure. Okay. My name's Taylor, if you didn't know already. And I always like to say that I'm an independent data analyst. I think it's important that you know that. And being an independent analyst and having independent thought means that you can stand up for what you believe in without having to quote someone else's opinion. Okay? Excuse me, let me take a sip of out of my mug here. And by the way, politics alert. Civic engagement is what I'm going to start calling it, because that's really what it is. Politics is what parties do. Civics is what citizens do. I need to get that down better. Okay, so MAGA people, conservatives, I'm talking to you right now. And I know that you distrust media, and ultimately you distrust establishments, institutions. You know why? I kind of have an idea. I used to listen to Alex Jones personally, and for over 10 years I listened to Joe Rogan. So I know a thing or two about having fear-mongering news and what it's like to be gaslit. And, you know, we distrust these institutions mainly, I believe, because we think that there's like a deep state, someone's controlling it. And I want you to think about it like this. There's a media ecosystem that the FCC regulates. And this regulation comes with, you know, a few strings attached, like a license. Okay. Now, the FCC basically says that you're not allowed to perform a hoax, you're not allowed to defraud somebody, and you're not allowed to defame somebody. And that's about the only thing a media source, like the news, is governed around. So that's something that you need to keep in mind, all right? Now, on the internet, it's the wild, wild west. All, you know, holds no bar kind of thing. You can say whatever you want and get away with it. I'm not exaggerating whatsoever. So I want to kind of touch on this idea of ruling out all of your media, because that's the core of something called epistemic closure. So if you're like, there's a woke hive mind, you know, there's a deep state, I'm not going to listen to any of that because they've got an agenda, they're anti-Trump. I understand that thought process, but hear me out for just a second. I want you to understand that that's childish. It's immature. But the nice way of saying it is it's epistemic closure. Okay? And if you want to be a mature adult and you want to be an engaged citizen, you would hear all perspectives. And in America, there's more than just two sides to any story. There's more like 50 sides to all stories. That's how I would see it. So there's a few things I want you to keep in mind. Your media and your news organizations, they're not necessarily required to tell you the truth. So I had a conversation with a family member call it a conversation, where I posted a video clip of a police officer, the chief police officer of Minneapolis, and he's looking at a video of ICE officers pulling a woman out of her vehicle. And he's basically saying if those were his officers under his command, there'd be consequences for those actions, which I think is an appropriate answer from someone in law enforcement. And the same news organization shows that same clip, same question to the person leading the ICE agents, okay? Not Christy Nome, but another man. I don't know who he is. Name's not important. The important thing is the context. When shown the same video, he just says, I don't like, this is how he responds in context, you know, kind of nutshell it here, that he's tired of seeing people use their vehicles as weapons against ICE agents, which wasn't happening in that video, right? So at the core of it, I was trying to show the difference between a leader and someone that deflects, which is a part of what I call our deflectagarchy. Leadership, they never take ownership. They just deflect until basically so no one ever gets to the core of the problem. And that impacts us as citizens, right? There's tons of influencers. I see them all the time. Benny Johnson. I saw another one today that does something called Bar Fight. I think his name's Michael something. Name's not important, but he's sitting there on stage in front of a bunch of people that are cheering him on, talking about the Renee Good situation, and he's saying that the officer had body cam footage. And anybody who watches that video with their own fucking eyeballs would know that that man had no, especially the video when it was released, had no body cam footage. It was his personal cell phone. And that context matters because they're trying to use that frame of being a body cam that he got hit. And you can look from that long angle, from not the cell phone footage, but the long angle where you can, it looks like he gets hit. I thought maybe he got nudged. No, when they actually slow it down, kind of like they do in the NFL when we do replay, puts his hands out and he puts his hand on the vehicle so he can shoot his freaking weapon. You think I'm wrong? Go watch the analyzed, slowed down version. Right? You're going to listen to J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and all these people tell you that she was trying to run him over. He put himself in harm's way. And no one ever talks about that. The police chief was, for example, right, in another video on the same news organization. Now, the point I'm trying to get to is that people rule out the news organization like they're trying to spin some sort of, spin something against them. If that's the truth, then go prove them wrong. Come up with a viral video. I don't know, find something that proves them wrong, right? There's thousands of organizations in America that have free speech. If you don't like 60 Minutes, find someone else. But the point being is there's no reason to rule out all information. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you rule out everything, you're easier to be manipulated and controlled. And that's how I was when I listened to Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. And when Joe Rogan, I stopped listening to Joe Rogan because I realized that no one in his ecosystem was actually informed. What do I mean by that? He's sitting on camera with Tulsi Gabbard talking about kids dressing up like cats and demanding cat litter boxes. And at the time I heard it, I was like, that sounds ridiculous. And then a few years later, I see Vice News do a little video breakdown. And they showed that there was news debunking that story the whole time. But even though the news, right, credible journalism was happening, Joe Rogan never heard it. Now, the thing that really kind of sent me over the edge with Joe Rogan was when the January 6th committee hearings were happening. And he was watching Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, so there's a conspiracy about Donald Trump trying to overturn our election. Mr. Joe Rogan, conspiracy man, isn't paying attention to this, but he's paying attention to drama about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. I was like, that's fucking stupid, first of all. Anybody who cared about it, I'm not trying to offend you, but there were far more important things happening at that time. That's fucking stupid. It's drama. Who cares? Who cares? Honestly, who gives a shit? That's what I thought. But instead of paying attention to something important, like an attack on our country, Joe Rogan's listening to drama, and so he's not getting informed, as many millions of others weren't. And that's when I noticed a huge shift in our country. A lot of people took sides. And there's no sides here. This is America versus reality, the truth. The deflectigarchy. It's America versus Trump. So, dear MAGA, please stop letting epistemic closure control your minds. Stop letting Donald Trump control the narrative and control your media intake. Right? Donald Trump says that media source has got Trump derangement syndrome. That source, I sued him because they defamed me because I'm a fucking baby. Doesn't mean they're not credible. Now, on the flip side, if you really want to know something manly, Kamala Harris could have sued Fox News for clipping Donald Trump when they asked him about Jeffrey Epstein. Will you release the Epstein files? Yeah, clipped. He kept going. He gave himself an outlet. Now, I know thousands of people who voted for Trump because of that clip. He's not going to, I'm not diving into the Epstein files. That's other people's thing. I don't respect people that are pedophiles. I don't condone that. I think it's disgusting. So if Donald Trump's on there, we all know he is, right? He should be impeached. He should be impeached for much more than just that. He should be impeached over January 6th. He should be impeached over COVID, all kinds of things, okay? But again, just because people hate Trump doesn't make that derangement. Because I know MAGA, I know you all hate Joe Biden. I know you hate him. So you can't get mad at people for hating Donald Trump. There has to be some sort of logic to this. You know what I'm right. You know I'm right. So let it be okay for people to hate Donald Trump and then challenge them on why they hate him. Now, if you are for Donald Trump, you're already in the wrong, plain and simple. Right? If you don't believe that he's lying to you about election fraud, you're already in the wrong because he is. He already is. J.D. Vance is lying to you. Why is lying to you so important? Because it gives you power. It gives you money. It gives you a grift. You think anybody's going to watch this? I doubt it. This might get 10 views, but that's not important. I'm here to express my opinion because I believe in... Ready? Those of you who watched the last one. Freedom of speech, baby. Okay. So that's really all I really wanted to talk about. Oh, wait. You know what? I wanted to explain some numbers to y'all because let's get this fact right. There's a lot of people who think Donald Trump, there's some sort of fucking mandate. Now, our problem is participation. I'm going to make that point, right? Not enough people participate. And participation goes beyond voting. Now, this is the number of people who voted in 2024, right? So, I got the numbers of the total number of people of age who can vote in 2024, rounding out 265 million. Now, the total votes cast, rounding out 156 million. Votes cast for Trump, I'm going to round it, 77.3 million. For Kamala Harris, 74.9 million. That's a difference of 2.3 million. Okay? That's about 3%. It's not very many people. Now, there's a lot of people who threw away their vote. Over 4 million people cast their votes for third-party candidates. 750,000 of those went for Robert RFK. Now, RFK had dropped out and joined parties with Trump. So just a bunch of people throwing away their casts, throwing away their ballots. Literally, right? Now, I've been there. I used to vote third party. Now, I'm going to let you all know. I cast my very first ballot for Barack Obama. From there, it was Gary Johnson. After that, Donald Trump. 2020, I voted for Donald Trump because I was brainwashed. I thought it was cool. It's not cool, trust me. It makes you look stupid. And then 2024, I voted for Kamala Harris. So you can't push the whole Joe Biden bullshit on me. I made an educated decision in 2024 to vote against kind of like, my tradition other than the Barack Obama one, but I was looking for hope and change, right? Young man. The point being, participation. We need more people to participate. We need more people to pay attention regularly. We need more people to vote in primaries. We need more people to vote in midterms. Because primaries is what sets the ballot for the main elections, the midterm and the general election every 4 years. And if you're upset about who's on that ballot, then you should participate earlier. Plain and simple. And I'm trying to help. On my website, thestrategicowl.com, I'm building a voter dashboard. First of all, I want you to go there and tap the state. There's a little link that pops up. Go and register, please. Now, keep this link. Below that, there's a Trump check. And right now for the primaries, like for example, Texas, if you have a Texas zip code, punch it in, hit Trump check. You're going to see who supports Trump and who wants to impeach Trump. And I'm going to link you to their website if you don't believe me. I'm emailing these candidates, and a lot of them are not responding, but a handful of them are. So I can at least validate on their website. And then think about when the primaries are over, we're going to have a smaller list. But more importantly, it's an easy place for you to go vote. Or at least, find out who's on your ballot to go vote and have a more educated vote moving forward. Because we can't just vote for who's Republican and who's Democrat. You can't do that. You have to vote for who's best for America, who's best for your county, right? Who's best for your state. Not who you're afraid of, because that is what authoritarians do. That's what people who are demagogues do, is they try to thrive on your fears and your emotions. Okay? That's what the whole MAGA movement is about. They're trying to thrive on your fears and emotions. So when people say that Trump is like Hitler, that's what they're referring to. They're not saying that Trump's going to go murder a bunch of people. But it is possible that people in militia groups that support him might go murder a bunch of people. And from what I'm understanding, a lot of them are ICE agents now. And so they have legal authority to do so. And that worries me a bit, because it does feel very 1930s. So before I play guitar, I'm going to ask you, if you lived in the 1930s and you're kind of like wondering, what would you be doing? It's right now. If you're just sitting back doing nothing, that's what you would have been doing in Nazi Germany. I'm speaking up because I believe in freedom of speech. I love you, America. I hope you guys share this. I hope someone's watching this, but I'm going to practice my guitar. I'm new-ish, and you could tune out if you want. Maybe you skipped here. It doesn't matter to me. I don't really care. I'm recording this, and I'm just going to put it on the internet, and hopefully someone's listening. tell when I missed the fret. Screamer. It was a little too much, sorry. What should I play? Sorry, I don't really know other people's music. was a kid, I used to play that.